What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. Today, I'm talking about 5 underrated games for the PlayStation 2. So if you like games, consoles, or product reviews, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. With that being said, let's hop into it. So I know that the PlayStation 2 has a bunch of games. However, I decided to grab 5 games that I think are really underrated for the system, and I'll go through them, talk about them a little bit, and show you guys some gameplay. Now, most of these games are really cheap games. However, I think most of them, if not all, are really underrated. Some of them are just underrated a little bit, but some of them are really underrated, and I think you guys should see what I really like for the PlayStation 2. Now, a bunch of these are sports or racing or types like that, but just because they are that kind of genre does not make them any less fun. But overall, I enjoy all of these games. The PS2 was a console that I held dear to my heart when I was a kid growing up, because I had this and a Nintendo 64, and those were the two that I really played on a lot when I was a kid. So with that being said, I'm gonna start off with the first one and go through all 5 of them. Now, these games are not your top 5 games or anything like that. They're just 5 games that I think you guys should know about and play them because they're cheap, and if you're trying to collect for the PS2 and you want some fun games, these are definitely some good games. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and hop into it. Okay, so this first one is a really awesome one. It is NBA Street Volume 2. Now, there are 3 volumes here for this NBA Street, but this one I think is the best one. I had so much fun playing with this one. You can play as some really big legends in this game, and also some really good players from around the time this game was released. Now, when this was released, the LA Lakers were killing it. They were winning championships like crazy, and I always played as them, or I played as some of the old superstars, which is really cool. Now, this game is really cheap, and a lot of people have either played this or have heard about it, but I thought it needed to be on the list because it does not get as much praise as it should. Because I remember when this game came out, everyone raved about it and everyone had a blast playing it because it was really fun playing it multiplayer. It is kind of your NBA Jam style game, which is really cool. I really enjoy that. Now, I don't really enjoy basketball games that are realistic, but when they're arcadey and kind of outlandish or ridiculous, those are definitely the type of basketball games that I like, and that's where this one falls, because it is just such a wacky, weird, you do all these tricks, you can pass, you can block. The rules are really relaxed in this game, so if you don't necessarily know the rules of basketball, you can still play this game and pick it up. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a cheap basketball game. Volume 2 is definitely my favorite, and you guys should check it out. Okay, so the second one on this list is a fun game that I played the heck out of when I was a kid. I played it so much, and I think it's an underrated game, but nostalgia goggles kind of kick in with this game because I played it so much as a kid. It doesn't control as nicely as I would like it to nowadays, but Freak Style is such a fun game. It's a ridiculous game, and it really reminds me of like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but for motocross, because you have races, but then you also have freestyles where you just do outlandish tricks, and with the boosts and all the cool stuff about this is definitely a fun game. I do not see people talking about this game, which is a big shame, because this game is so much fun and I can really enjoy it. Playing this with friends is also a really good multiplayer to play with friends and just talk trash on them when you're beating them And if you haven't picked this up, it's cheap like I said. It's another one of those EA big games which is outlandish and just kind of wacky and way out there, and I really like this game, and it's fast-paced racing. So with that being said, if you haven't played Freakstyle, I definitely think you should check it out, because it is a sick game that really just takes me back to when I was younger and playing these games. I really love this one. So again, I have a second version of a game, ATV Offroad Fury 2. This one is really fun. Now, I don't think it's as good as it used to be. Honestly, the mechanics and the graphics didn't really hold up as well as other sports racing games, but this one is still very fun. It's your weird, wacky, kind of not as crazy as Freakstyle, but still more arcadey, but still kind of realistic because it's racing quads, which is really cool. I really enjoyed this one. I had this as a kid, and I remember actually getting the race wheel just to play this game and a NASCAR game, and this is one of those that I played and I really enjoy it. I really do like this game, and I think more people have seen this game and passed it over just because it's another one of those racing games. It's cheap, but it's still a bunch of fun. Now, there's other versions. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them, but I think this is definitely my favorite one, and I think it's the best one for the ATV Offroad Fury, and I just remember having a ton of fun with this one, and it's really good. So if you're looking for a ATV racer, this is definitely the go-to. So this game might have some traction with some PS2 players, but not others. I really enjoyed this one. I feel like a lot of people overlook this one. It's not just underrated. I feel like it's an overlooked game. For what it is and when it came out, it still kind of holds up and looks cool, and it's still a bunch of fun. Destroy All Humans is such a fun game. This is a game where you're an alien on Earth, and you basically go around and use your powers to move things, move cars, move people, zap people. You can use anal probes to get humans. It's really actually pretty fun. You can fly the flying saucer, which is really cool, and it has like a kind of a death beam, which is really cool. You just aim it and it blows things up or lights them on fire. You can destroy houses and tanks, and the military comes after you, and all this kind of cool stuff. This is definitely a fun game. It's weird like some of these other games are, but I think this is definitely a fun one. What other games do you get to become an alien, come to Earth, and attack it, and just do stuff like that? It's really cool, and I really enjoy it. It's a fun one for sure. I think the graphics are alright. They didn't stand up as well with time as some of these other games did, but you can still understand what's happening and see what it is. And so with that, I think you need to pick this one up. If you're going to pick any of these games up, I think this is probably the one that I would pick up first, because it's such a fun game and you can sink hours into it. So let's go into the last one. So this last game on this list is a really fun one, and it really throws me back to the 64 as well. But Splashdown Ride Goes Wild is a fun, wacky racing game, and I've been saying wacky because most of these games are just weird and underrated because they're just out there and different. But this one reminds me of Wave Race 64 with a little Hydro Thunder thrown into it, because it's just so much fun. You're on your Sea-Doos and you're racing around, and sometimes there'll be a storm that comes in or all this wacky stuff, and it'll change the dynamic of the race. And sometimes when the storm comes in, it'll get dark and it'll be like hard to see for a little bit, and then it'll kind of blend in and you'll get used to playing in the dark. And then when the light comes back, it'll kind of get bright and then settle in. It's a really fun racing game. It's fast-paced, and if you like racing games to play with friends, this is definitely one I suggest, because when I played this, I had a bunch of fun, because nothing beats racing your friends and beating them and being able to talk trash while you're playing it. And this is really just a fast-paced one. Like I've said, this is a cheap game as well, but I really enjoyed it because it's something that you don't expect as much out of systems nowadays. But with this in mind, it really throws me back to the 64 when I was playing Wave Race and I was playing Hydro Thunder. Those are two games that I really like, and those games are really high up there on the list for the Nintendo 64 for me. So this game harkens to that, and it's really cool. Okay, so that is my 5 underrated games for the PS2. So I'm planning on making more videos like this one. I don't know if I'm going to do more for the PS2 or for the Xbox or whatever system it is, but I want you guys to check this out and let me know below in the comments. Let me know if you've played any of these games, if you'd want to see any games on this list or anything like that. With that being said, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget about that Facebook, that Instagram, that Twitter, that Big Cartel. All those links are below in the description. Also, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. But most of all, have a good day.